I mean, you've got the first draft grade, so get ready, bud.
Don't hold anything back.
Oh, I'm gonna rip you to shreds. Don't worry about
it. Gone wrong.
That John always loves the clickbait titles.
You're live?
Are we live?
Let me see.
It's the classic, like that one YouTube video where it's that like 10-year-old kid. He's like selling my mom's wedding ring for a gold fidget spinner turned sexual.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, we're live.
I thought that was a clickbait. Like I didn't think that was. I thought it was a meme. I didn't think that was a real video. Are we live?
Let me get this link somehow.
Are we currently live though?
Yeah, we're live. We're live.
Oh baby, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a long time coming because we had our draft several weeks ago. But we are just now getting into our draft grades, commissioner draft grades. And of course, we have the newest member of the 2.5 commissioners crew, Griffin Hicks. Griffin, take a brief second to enjoy your sandwich and then let the people know your plans as a half commissioner and just your thoughts and overall.
Well, my plan as half commissioner is to enact half the justice, follow half the rules, but put in twice the time. It's a simple formula, and I'm going to stick to it.
Beautiful. That's exactly
for me, and it's worked for many of those.
It's exactly the kind of energy we were looking for in terms of getting another half commissioner in here. We needed it to pick up my slack because Matt Don's just been hard at work in the lab with the boys in the back. Matt Don, tell us what the boys in the back are thinking tonight.
Dude, I'll tell you what. You say I've been in the lab with the boys in the back. You're actually spot on. Shout out to Sleeper HQ, giving me some. I've been emailing their support a long time, trying to get a lot of data on all their leagues on their platform, and they've been putting out those ADP things. I've been running regression models on those. Trying to give us some serious Spicy Boy Thursday information come season. We're gonna work through that. We're gonna put out some banging pods later. We'll do that whenever that happens. In terms of the draft grades, I'm trying to hone in my excitement here because I might be sounding a little crazy if you if you ask me. No, I'm stoked. I've had my grades on the docket for a while. I told Hunter to get on the Zoom call with me because I was way too lazy to write it all out. And I don't have that articulated drive anymore. So we're here. We're grinding and moving and blowing and chugging. So what's up, Reed? I see you in the chat, homie. We're gonna get this kicked off as soon as Hunter says something.
As soon as I say something, so all the pressure's on me. Well, Matt Don, speaking of what you're saying, I looked back on our draft grades, and oh baby, did we have a spicy draft last year. We had grades all over the place, ranging from A's to C's. Of course, our most controversial draft and our most controversial pick is on the chat with us in Marquez Callaway. Turns out that was a good pick, but Griffin, you didn't see it through. Have you learned from that mistake in terms of picking Elijah Moore this year out of Ole Miss?
I definitely have. I feel like I listened to people with single-digit IQs, and I fell victim to peer pressure. But I don't intend to fall victim to peer pressure, especially from owners who their franchise is referenced as the poverty franchise. So I really have respect for very, very few general managers in this league. Obviously, the two of you, fellow division guys, and Screaming Turtles. Obviously, I mean, I love the way they conduct themselves. They show no mercy, show no quarter. So yeah, I've definitely learned my lesson.
Love to hear that. Well, Griffin, because you are eating a big old bite of burger, and we just talked about Marquez Callaway, and frankly, you're just the number one pick up on the docket right now. Why don't you give us your draft grade
Well,
for yourself?
I think for me personally, the unbiased side of me, of course, it could have been better. I put myself in this position long before the draft, though. So I thought I did a fairly decent job of using my situation for the best. Elijah Moore could turn out to be a superstar, especially the way that scouts are talking about him in OTAs and catching drills and stuff. And I think him coming in as a rookie with a rookie quarterback, where it's clear that the Jets are going to build their franchise around this rookie quarterback and Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
I think this could be a fantastic opportunity for both Elijah Moore and Zach Wilson owners. So I think my draft grade probably would be a B+.
B+.
But as far as putting myself in that situation and the decisions leading up to the draft, couldn't go any higher than a D.
Wow. So you know what? We'll do a nice little slash there. We're gonna have a B+/D.
There's no
Wow, just a
slashes.
straight D.
There's no slashes in this.
I like it. Matt Don, ruthless. Start us off.
What about we average that out to a C+?
All right.
I was trying to be a little candid, and I literally got D'd. So
you get a C.
All right. I'm going in on this. You say I think you sold yourself short. I went at this from no trades in mind, just who are the players I came out of the draft with. And obviously I weighed in some of them if they were egregious, but I didn't really think any of them were. So I think with your one pick selection, obviously it would have been great if you had more picks. I think Griffin Hicks, the Weenie Wolves, I really liked Elijah Moore as a value in the draft. I personally had him ranked a lot higher and was trying to trade into the late first in multiple occasions to get him because I liked him a lot pre-draft, and then he went to the Jets early in the first. I'm giving you a solid A-.
Wow.
I really like. It's just setting the Weenie Wolves up with a solid or a potential solid building block at the wide receiver. You're going to have him for a long time. Hopefully he's a stud like you think. And I think it'll be a great draft for the Wolves.
Wow. Kicked off strong.
That truly means the world to me.
Kicked off strong with a nice little range there. Matt Don, I agree with you. I did really like Elijah Moore coming out. A lot of training camp buzz, a lot of positivity. One thing that does give me a little bit of pause, he is on the smaller side. He is considered a slot guy, but Justin Jefferson was considered a slot guy. But I do really like the pick. My bigger issue with this draft is, I can't factor out the trade that led us to this point. And B, Elijah Moore does not fix all the problems with the Weenie Wolves. And I don't think trading out necessarily was the right move, but I think there could have been more done in terms of not trading last year, prioritizing some draft picks, maybe keeping that pick instead of trading it for 1-9 in Gaskin. But all of that to say, I was very impressed by the pick. It was the best player available. It was the best player available on my board. Sounds like it was the best player available on Matt Don's board. So I'm going to give this one a very solid B. Very good pick. I liked the pick. I just can't factor out all the other stuff that went around it. And that is the only thing holding you back, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sweet. ABC. There we go.
Beautiful.
I'll go ahead and kick us off on the Duckies draft. So we have Javonte, Zach Wilson, and Tutu Atwell, and a few trades here and there. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really awe-inspired by the Duckies picks. I think they wanted to get a running back and really go in and try and get a guy that'll that'll be like electric this year and possibly push their team to the championship, since I have them as a top 3 team right now, power rankings wise. If they were going to trade up, I just wasn't inspired by the selection of Javonte. I think he's the better guy. I don't think he's the best guy for this season, in my opinion, which makes me think that he's going to have some struggles. But if he doesn't, well, again, I'm not doing a team grade here. I'm doing a draft grade. I think his draft grade was a B. I think it was solid. It's a passing grade for sure. It's not outstanding. I mean, he did what he came to do, and I mean, nothing really more. Is kind of what my take from that is.
Very, very, very strong reasoning. I like that. Griffin, do you want to take this one and I'll wrap us up here?
I would love to. So, looking at your first overall pick, in pick 4, the Javonte Williams pick was I mean, you got a lot of young running backs. The Duckies do. So, I mean, you got Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. You got you got plenty of depth and youth at running back, and you went in on Keyshawn Vaughn, obviously, unbiased that was.
All right.
But I was a huge fan of the Zach Wilson pickup. I think not solely because of Elijah Moore, even if Elijah Moore wasn't even on the team, I still think Dak, he's one of those guys who very well could one of these days toss in the can any day now. And Jameis Winston, I mean, come on. And so I think giving yourself some depth at QB was a hell of a call. So I'm going to go with a B+ on this one.
B+, kind words. Griffin, I appreciate the analysis. One issue I will take is I don't think Dak Prescott's going anywhere anytime soon. he did just sign a 4-year.
Nobody thought Le'Veon Bell was going anywhere. Nobody thought Saquon Barkley was going anywhere.
Isn't Dak Prescott like 25?
And he just signed a long-term deal. That's like
27. He's 27, and injuries happen every day.
He already been injured.
People get hit by the cars on their way to work. Okay.
Yeah, no, Griffin, but I do appreciate that analysis. Again, I'm just going to take issue with the Dak Prescott of it all. Matt Don, I agree with you. I'm like taking off the Ducky hat. I think it was a solid draft. I think it was filling some needs. It was an opportunity for the Duckies. They're not usually this high in the draft and hopefully won't be for a little while longer. And so getting a premium position at running back, I definitely think is going to help them a lot. Javonte, yeah, he may not be the guy this year. A lot of talent, though, a lot of opportunity in that Denver backfield. And frankly, for me, it was a lot of between Javonte and Travis Etienne. And I think that's what this draft grade will ultimately boil down to. Was that the right pick of Javonte over Etienne? Etienne just scares me right now with that role. But I also liked what the Duckies were able to do, knowing they could trade Baker and replace him with Zach Wilson. So all in all, I think it was solid. Tutu Atwell is lottery pick. Javonte gives some much needed RB depth. Zach Wilson, long-term quarterback starter, hopefully, if the Jets don't Jets it up. I'm going to follow in Matt Don's footsteps. I think that's a B. I think it's solid.
I will add one more thing. Following the Broncos as closely as I do, I will say that a lot of people are saying now that Melvin Gordon is already being considered the third down back, with Javonte Williams being his primary back. So when I said what I said about you choosing Javonte Williams as a running back, phenomenal pick, absolutely fantastic. But that might not have been the need, the prime need. Yeah, I thought I'd add that in there.
Last thing I say about the Ducky, like your team, like where's the explosive? You got a lot of guys that are just consistent, good players. I feel like you need a real PPR explosive beast, and that's where Etienne would have came in. That's my 2 cents. That's all. Anyways, we'll move on to the Pillas. Hunter, you can hit us off here first.
Yeah, so with the Pillows, I like their draft. I'll be honest, like filled a lot of needs. They needed wide receivers and they loaded up on wide receivers. They've got a young core in terms of their running backs, like solid young quarterback. Tight end's a little rough. But overall, it was a good draft. My issue and my primary sticking point, like I'll be honest, I'll enter my grade in first. I thought it was a B plus. I thought it was a very like solid, very good draft. The reason why it's not A for me is you don't pass up Kyle Pitts. Like, I think he's a generational talent. He was my number 2 player on my big board. I love Kyle Pitts. I think he is a special player at the tight end position, Matt Dunn. We've already talked about this. Yeah, he might not be special as a wide receiver, but as a tight end, he definitely is. I like Ja'Marr Chase. He does kind of remind me a little bit more of N'Keal Harry than Justin Jefferson. So I don't think it's as bulletproof a pick as it's been made out to be in the dynasty community. And I think that a Kyle Pitts pick there would have made more sense.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is a bulletproof pick there.
I think he is. Look,
Oh
Matt,
my goodness.
I'm not sleeping on Matt Ryan. Julio Jones is gone. Ridley can only take so much.
Howard and Chris Herndon and Johnny Smith, all these.
Don't compare. Like, Kyle Pitts is an elite athlete with elite production.
David Njoku.
6'6", ran a 4.4. Like, this is a freak of nature player that you don't get the opportunity to draft.
So were all the other uber athletic tight ends from Power 5 schools. Like, it's such a it's actually statistically more of an outlier to hit on Pitts than it would be to hit on Chase. But hey, regardless.
No, I agree. Eric Ebron. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I think he made the absolute right choice. I think tight ends, it's good to have a positional advantage there, like Kelsey and Darren Waller last season. But like, what are the odds that he becomes Kelsey and Darren Waller? Slim, in my opinion. I don't know. Ja'Marr, like, in my opinion, there's nothing that the Pillows did wrong here, but there wasn't really anything else. There wasn't really any extravagant things that I was like, oh, wow, that was really great for their future. Like I really wanted him to. Like, I just think his team is really not that good. And I would have liked to see him ship off some of his running backs. You say they're young, but like, I don't know. He'd have to, both Ja'Marr Chase and Terrace Marshall and another one of his wide receivers, and he'd have to get a tight end. Like, I read somewhere that you're only really a championship contender if, like, what are there, 4 positions? If, like, you have a significant positional advantage at 3 out of 4 of them. And it's like, do I really see him having that? It's like, I only really see him having 1 at running back. So it's like, maybe he should have stocked up on picks for the future. But I thought his picks were good. They were good. They weren't saucy by any means. I thought they were nearly a 90 in my books. They were like an 88 if I was to say something,
Yeah.
I don't know. They were fine. If he takes Pitts there, I actually bump him down to a B.
Yeah, that's where we're going to disagree. I will say the one thing I want to add before Griffin hops into it is I did forget about his trade. And honestly, on second thought, I might need to bump him down to half a grade for that. Yeah. I just think, like, him making that trade, he didn't trade up with anyone in mind. Like, he took Terrace Marshall. That was who he ended up taking. He didn't make that trade, though, with the intent to.
He could have made it with you draft based on tiers, and maybe he had a significant tier break in his mind from those two, and he thought, like, I'll take anyone in the tier above it over both of the,
Yeah, I mean, that's a benefit of the doubt, but just being there live on draft day, it seemed more so like Reed was desperate to trade out of that spot because he just didn't really love anyone in that tier. And Giller didn't give up a lot. I mean, he gave up pick 24 to move up.
It was Trey Sermon and Pat Fairmouth were the 2 that went at those.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I can't justify that Terrace Marshall is even worth that. Like, I'm not sure who I'd rather have between Terrace Marshall and Trey Sermon. So giving up Freiermuth, who's like clearly the second best tight end in this class, like, and what does Giller need? A tight end.
Yeah. Well,
Like there's things like that just make this grade a little bit, but that's nitpicky.
If I was him, if I was trading those picks, I would have used it to stock up on next year's draft or even 2 years down the line that people are barely valuing because it's so far away, you know?
Yeah, trade Saquon, clean house. I understand that, but given what he did, again, I think it was a very solid draft. Griff.
So I look at this and I see a whole lot of receivers. And I mean, he took Joe Burrow last year, which that couldn't have ended more unfortunate. And so he's got his quarterback. And now that Joe Burrow has his guy from college, I think Joe Burrow is going to be even better than he was. And he'll have a year under his belt. He'll come back healthy, well rested. So I think as far as quarterbacks go, he's great. But there's just too many receivers here. I can't, like, even if he didn't have any receivers, he could not play all these guys. And so I see Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, obviously, it's a hell of a pick. I mean, picking with the second overall pick is 10 times harder than picking with the 6th or 7th overall pick because everybody's still there and fate doesn't if you choose one way or another. But he's already got Odell, Laviska Shenault. I mean, he's got receivers, Michael Gallup. He's got guys that are going to be able to do it. I think a running back would have been a pretty decent option because I think the hype on J.K. Dobbins has been exacerbated. I don't even know what to say. And so for me personally, I'm going to go with a B because not a B plus. God damn it. There we go. A B simply because there's already plenty of receivers that he has, and he wouldn't be able to. He's not going to be able to use all of these guys. It looks like he's banking on one of his receivers getting injured, which with his team's injury history, maybe not the worst call. And I think as far as receivers go, that was a good draft. You got Terrace Marshall coming back, meeting up with his old OC at Carolina, and he's obviously behind both of the Moores. But who knows? Who knows? He could shock the world. Ja'Marr Chase obviously is going to play and contribute virtually right away. Amari Rodgers, that's going to be a tough one. If the quarterback decides to go, they're going to be screwed. And no matter how good of a receiver you are, if you don't have a quarterback, you're about worth jack shit. So, I mean,
we do have children watching this chat, so just language warning.
You are worth nothing.
Thank you, sir. Oh my goodness, Griffin, I do appreciate the insight into your team building strategy in terms of never drafting 3 receivers in a row. So that would never happen in a Griffin Hicks led draft.
Well, don't put it past me.
I can kick off the Reed Mayers draft for the Ferocious Frogs. This was a big draft for the Frogs. They traded away their entire team for a whole lot of draft picks. Obviously, Matt Don was the beneficiary. He's not on here. I told him before the show that he got an A+ just for winning the championship off of trading all of his draft picks. But that's the whole purpose of the picks. Just going line by line through his picks, love DeVonta Smith. I think DeVonta Smith is in a tier with him and Ja'Marr Chase. I'm not high on Waddle. I think that was a great pick and that fell to him. Which was perfect. I was going, if I'd stayed at 6, I would have picked DeVonta Smith. I think he's incredibly talented. Michael Carter at 8 is a little concerning, just because he's a bit undersized and was a 4th round pick, which does not have a great hit rate historically. So I would have probably waited on that, maybe picked Carter at 8 at 12 or something like that. So I would rather have taken Elijah Moore there. I think the talent is superior. Trevor Lawrence at 11, thinks phenomenal. De'Ami Brown, I like it. It's a good dart throw. A lot of talent, 3rd round draft pick. I love the Freiermuth pick. I think that was great value at pick 24. Kellen Mond, obviously, like we're not even going to talk about it. That was probably the worst pick in the draft. Overall, it's just given what he traded away and how big this draft was for him, just for what he's trying to build. I wasn't blown away by it. Like, I think it was very solid. I think there were some really good pieces. I like Devontae Smith. I like Trevor Lawrence. Rest of the guys, like there's some potential there. I like trading down from 12 to pick up a couple picks. The Robbie Anderson, Leonard Fournette trade doesn't totally move the needle for me. I probably would have rather had Trey Sermon. And for all those reasons, I'm going to give it a B. I think very, very solid draft, but like nothing like that draft kind of to me needed to be special and it wasn't.
You want me to go or you got it, Griff?
All righty. I guess I'll step in here and go ahead and give my insight for what it's worth. So I think obviously hell of a draft for the Frogs. They're great additions to an already well-rounded and well-based team. I think Devontae Smith was a perfect pick. He's got young guys in DK Metcalf and others. I mean, DK is already, and Devontae Smith's going to contribute probably right away. And De'Ami Brown, he will probably contribute right away. So he's got, or Dynamo Brown, I suppose. He's got good, well-rounded for the positions. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, fantastic pick. I mean, that guy basically has already been inducted to the Hall of Fame. He hasn't even thrown a single NFL pass. Pat Freiermuth, I think that was a good idea to get a tight end. Gronk, I mean, guy's ageless, timeless, but time catches up to everyone at some point. And I'm gonna give him a B plus, but I will say that he could definitely learn something from not living vicariously through his team mascot. I feel like he was as absorbed in his actual team as he was with his mascot. He could be a championship team, but obviously we're not grading off of that, so I'm gonna have to go with a B plus.
All right. So frog community, you had the potential for the sauciest draft. And what was it? You took Devonta Smith at 7, was one of the greatest college football seasons of all time, sure. All right. Great pick. Michael Carter at 8. Why would you do that? I love Michael Carter, but at 8, like I'm sure you could have shipped off. Okay, and Trevor Lawrence at 11. Sure, okay. I'm a big proponent at getting good quarterback quality because I like to just set it and forget it. I don't want to just, you have Kyler. It just makes me wonder, like, if you were just selecting for value at this point rather than like actually going for a rebuild. And looking at your power ranking, you're smack dab middle of the road. And my personal motto is you're either winning or you're losing. If you're not going to win the championship, tank. And I know everybody doesn't like that word. And I personally didn't do it. I tried my best to win games in the first season, but like I don't
report this to commissioners.
We're all right here, Griffin. We're all right here.
Hey, fellas, we got a problem here. Someone just admitted to tanking.
No. Like Hunter said it best. Like, this is one of the most crucial drafts for the Frogs, and these are all just late picks in a draft that I didn't necessarily think was super stacked. Like, it's a similar thing that I wanted you to do that the Pillas didn't do as well. And it takes a little bit more skill and precision to do it, but you got to either balls to the wall trade up or you got to trade into other drafts because late picks, like, sure, like Nick Chubb was pretty late, and I don't know, there's plenty of studs that went late in a lot of these drafts. But how many times does it happen? Not enough. Frogs. I'm not crucifying you here, dude. I just was super disappointed in what you did. As somebody who was in your exact position nearly a year and a half ago, I thought you were going to be the next comeback team, but I just really don't like the players you selected. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in the Frogs. I wanted them to do better, and they didn't.
I
I'll,
understand, I understand that, Matt Don. I'm just going to interject really quickly
Dump
on
on
the
the chest.
T-Law pick. I think that was the best player available. I think he's the most likely to retain value. I understand that pick. I don't. That's not the one I have issue with. But yeah, I'm with you on the Michael Carter and some of the other ones as well. Just underwhelming draft for the Frogs, unfortunately, and he's gone a little bit quiet in the chat, which you hate to see. Griffin, do you want to lead us off with the Deer Gueves and the Peacocks?
I would love to. So obviously Kyle Pitts, this guy is, I mean, he's going to probably be the next Kelsey or Kittle. I mean, the guy and tight ends are in rare short supply nowadays. I think that was a fantastic pick. And Trey Lance, obviously, Jimmy G doesn't have too many years left, so he'll have Josh Allen, who's a superstar, and he'll have Trey Lance. So I think those two were good, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, that one I didn't quite understand that one. I mean, it was a good one, but and it was in the complimentary pick or whatever it was. I can't even remember the name for it now.
Just comp pick.
Yeah,
compensatory, but
compensatory. Yeah, that's a big word. So yeah, I mean, obviously he basically got him for free. He didn't have to. I mean, so, but Dokes, running back from Miami. I mean, he's got the size, 6 foot, 230, but I don't think he's. I mean, they got some youth at running back. I think he will not be contributing anytime soon. Even if Myles Gaskin does get hurt, get traded, whatever it might be, quit, retire, get shot and killed, I think Brown, Salvin Ahmed, those guys would step in long before our boy Dokes here would. And I mean, he doesn't really have a need. Now he's got his tight end. Maybe a wide receiver would have been good. Some of his wide receivers are getting to be pretty old, and wide receivers can just vanish. So maybe a wide receiver would have been better than a capable wide receiver. I mean, not some guy named after Egyptian god. But so I'm gonna give him a B- here. Just, I mean, it was a good overall draft, but I think he definitely could have. He started out really hot, and then he kind of.
I gotta ask, what is the safest position for you? Because so far, wide receivers disappear. Dak Prescott at 27 is on the decline of his career. We've already talked about Le'Veon Bell. Is there any position that is safe for you?
Le'Veon Bell's a touchy subject, okay? Okay.
Well, let's just. He said the guy was going to get shot and killed.
Well, you never know.
All right, I'm going.
Go for it.
Fellas. Future's uncertain.
So I'll say Pitts 1-3, Lance 2-9. Amon-Ra, the Egyptian god, and then Dokes, the waiver wire fodder, as I like to consider him. But he could be sneaky James Robinson candidate. Who knows? Pitts at 1-3. He's obviously the guy you take. He's in the tier 1. So you take the last of your tier 1, who's ever there. I assume that was his last of his tier 1. Great selection. He needed tight end. It fits well with his timeline. Lance 2-9, I think, was a steal, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't really understand. I forget the order of the QBs. It went Zach Wilson.
Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how, like, I don't understand. Usually I like to follow the trends of like where analysts value, and he got valued really highly by NFL people and then slid super far for some. I don't know. I thought it was a fine selection. I thought everything he did was fine. I thought obviously I said I wasn't going to weigh in any trades, but like I would have it as a B, just solid in my personal. But that trade to get up there last season bumped it up a little bit for me. So B plus. Peacocks, solid draft. Nothing too saucy, nothing too fancy.
You already know what this is going to be. Like, this was 1-3 getting potentially the best player in the draft, potential generational talent, then just sits there at pick 21 and has a top 5 quarterback just fall to him. Not top 5 overall, but like top 5 in the NFL draft. Yes, he's going to sit for a little bit. He's got Josh Allen. He doesn't need him right now. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, like, yeah, he's an Egyptian god, but there is nobody in Detroit. I mean, it's Tyrell Williams, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and
there was nobody in New England for N'Keal Harry either.
That's true, but
look at where that got N'Keal Harry. You guys are mean.
Look, it's a free pick, and I think he knocked it out of the park. Dokes, it's 311. Like, okay, you picked him at 40. It doesn't matter. He also, let's just talk about the fact he traded Devontae Booker, who he picked up off of waivers the day before, for 311. So he turned nothing into a free draft pick. That's a great trade for him.
I mean, would you rather have Devontae Booker or Dokes?
That's a good fair point.
I don't know. Like, maybe Dokes. I don't follow Miami at all, so I don't know if Dokes is actually good. I have no idea on Dokes, and he's 311, and I'm just like, third round picks for me, they're absolute crapshoots. If they're good, awesome. If they're not, they're not. But I had Amon-Ra St. Brown ranked, I think, top 25 players in this draft. I had Lance high. I liked him as a quarterback and as a prospect. I had Pitts very, very high. So to me, he's one of my few A's. Killed this draft, filled a major need at tight end, didn't have to give up much for it, gave up a player that was not all that important for him. Unbelievable draft.
Well,
you just get on your knees there, Chief.
Look, I love
on that note.
He's killed. Look, like, and Gueves is one of those people that I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to in terms of drafts. Like, last year, he did take Henry Ruggs, who is not looking great, but he took Antonio Gibson at 23. Like,
I know, but I don't know. It's the same. Whatever. It's doesn't sticks and stones. Bonds. We'll move on to the bonds. So I'll start with the bonds because this is no, I'm not going to spoil anything. Nico Collins, Ramondre Stevenson, and Seth Williams. Looking at his trades, 110 Bateman and Penny for Keenan Allen. I thought that was phenomenal. Keenan Allen, I think, is going to be a top 10 guy for the next 3 years, and nobody's going to respect him. And he's always going to be good. This one, I mean, Shenault, I think alone is probably more valuable in my opinion than James Conner, Damian Harris. And I really think he should have kept that. So that was the main trade. I think if so, what did he have before he traded? Before he did that trade, he had the 210.
Yeah, the 210, Laviska. That was it. He didn't have the 210.
Yeah. I would have preferred him to have Amari Rodgers, and I don't know who Amari Rodgers is, but I would have preferred for him to have Amari Rodgers and Laviska Shenault all over his trade. I think this one was my least favorite. Was my least favorite draft. It was just sucky. It was, I don't know, like, it passes because he drafted. I don't know, like it's hard for me to say that he did anything good. I don't know. Like, everything he did good in terms of the draft happened last year when he got Keenan Allen. I don't know. Just somebody else goes so I don't have to.
Yeah, no, I got you. I will say I like Nico Collins. I like Ramondre Stevenson. Those are some nice high upside picks. But I'm with you. Like, this draft didn't move the needle at all. Like, there's no pick here that was special. And then some of those trades are just, I'm looking at them and I'm like, yeah, you'd rather have Keenan Allen. But trading Chenault for James Conner at any point is just, ugh. I'm still not a Laviska Shenault guy, and I'm not on that train. And then Damian Harris for 2-4. Trading away Damian Harris, that's a little tough for a guy in Nico Collins who should be good, but we don't know. It's Houston. Houston's terrible. Like, Houston's a dumpster fire.
Oh, I thought that was all a big trade. I thought he gave Chenault for James Conner, Davian Harris, and the 2-4.
No.
I was very confused because there was 2 4s in there.
No, Damian was straight up for a 2-4. So he
Oh.
traded Damian for Nico Collins. Which,
Yeah, those both suck.
Yeah, so on the face of it, I like Nico Collins. I think that he's got upside, but I don't think there's anything solid there. And Ramondre Stevenson, like, good luck. I mean, he's LeGarrette Blount. I'm not sure you really want LeGarrette Blount on your fantasy team. So to me, it was a solid draft, but nothing blew me away. So it's a C+.
So for his draft, for the Pods draft, I thought it got better as it went along. I thought it started out rough simply because you look at the situation in Houston. I mean, it's atrocious. It's a fantasy football Portland, Oregon. It's absolutely terrible. It's declining by the day. It's a shame. And you see Sean Watson, one way or another, even if he gets cleared of everything and he goes and he plays, and he's not going to play as well as he ever did. That's just a fact of the matter. I think, however, on the other side of that, Seth Williams, he is big. He played in the SEC, so he knows to play at the highest level in college football, which I think will translate very well for him in the NFL. And people swear that Drew Lock is the guy. I don't. But if he is, he's going to have time with a new quarterback, and he's going to be able to develop his career. I think Seth Williams will be one hell of a stud later on. Maybe not the first year, maybe not the second year, but I think by the third year, I personally think Seth Williams he'll be able to pull it off. And obviously the Pods have more than enough weapons in their starting lineup right now. I mean, look at DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen. Those two they'll definitely each in the top 5 every year. Probably in the top 3, maybe not. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's got Darren Waller at tight end. I think he picked the right people or the right positions. I just don't think he went with the right people until he got to Seth Williams. And Ramondre Stevenson, he's behind Damian Harris. He's behind a bunch of other running backs who are just good enough to keep their jobs. And so he's going to have to really shine. And if he does, then he could be the best pick of the draft because he'll be coming up with Mac Jones. And those two could develop a fantastic relationship, not unlike Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara. So I don't know. Nico Collins has the size going for him. And if they can get a quarterback some way or another, I think he could be good. But just looking at it at face value right now, I see counterfeit. It's not worth much, but Seth Williams was a good one. Ramondre Stevenson, the potential is definitely there. So I'm going to give him a C+ on this one. But I think it was all right. It was C+ worthy.
I like it, Griffin. I like it. Griff, launch us into the Jawlers, because I got to hold Matt Don back a little bit because I know his words will be fiery and long once he gets started.
So, I mean, Mac Jones, just talked about him. I think he's coming into the Patriots system, the one that turned Tom Brady into, Tom Brady, a household name, if you will. And I think he's been under the smartest and brightest head coaches and offensive coordinators throughout his college career. So he's not going to have any problem learning from Bill Belichick and their offensive team there. And he's got the weapons too. He'll be just fine. He'll have Hunter Henry now at tight end. So he'll have a good, sizable young tight end to learn to target. So I think Mac Jones for the quarterback position that was a good call. Travis Etienne, obviously, I mean, Travis Etienne, he's going to be playing. This would be they're like 5th or 6th year playing together with him and Trevor Lawrence. I think that has potential to be an unbelievably good duo, I guess, a duo. And then you go to Trey Sermon. I think great pick. Got him second pick in the second round. I think that was a fantastic pick. And Josh Palmer, I ended up getting Josh Palmer per a trade after the fact. I like Josh Palmer, obviously. That's why I traded for him. And Tylan Wallace, I don't really have an opinion, but I think his first 3 picks were good. He's got 2 solid running backs. And I'm telling you, people call me crazy. Running backs and receivers, they fall off the face of the earth without a trace.
They get
Almost
shot.
like alien abduction.
They all get shot.
They all get shot. Okay. So I think that was a good call. He's got good running backs right now, but now he's got even more depth than he did. And I think Travis Etienne could become one of his starting running backs this year. It could be Josh Jacobs 2.0.
That would not be a good thing. That would be a
And
disappointing end for young Travis.
so, I mean, and then Mac Jones, he's obviously setting himself up for the future. So I think he's given himself a perfect mix of the here and now and the now and later.
So
And
what's that grade, Griffin?
I'm going to give him an A-.
A-.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I will say, so the trading Leonard Fournette and Robbie Anderson for Trey Sermon, that one I think that was a good trade for both parties involved. And then he got Tom Brady, 2020 second, third. Gave away Josh Palmer in 2020 second, third. I think that was a good pick because now he's got a quarterback who can basically produce for him right away. And obviously the Ridley deal, big one. But I think all in all, definitely A- worthy.
Matt, no.
Yeah,
What you got?
I'm not going nearly as long as you thought I'm gonna go. I think I think this first pick of ETN reminds me a whole lot of DeAndre Swift in that he was widely considered the most pro ready, the best running back for many years, and then draft time comes around and he's not a top 2 pick because hype of one season, people who have great one seasons or draft selections of when it's going to go. I think Etienne is going to end up being a skyrocket in value. I think the slander on him, and I've read into a lot of the beat of about him working as a wide receiver. It's because all of the coaches say he's nearly perfect as a running back. So might as well give him wide receiver routes too, So Trey Sermon reminds me a lot of the last year's Keyshawn Vaughn selection, a very murky backfield of who's going to be the guy, who's not going to be the guy. Hopefully there's some injuries to settle it all out. I mean, sure, he could be a crazy hit, but if Mostert's healthy, he's certainly the guy. Mac Jones, fine. I don't know about the other two. I really like this one. I really do. There's not really a whole lot of words to describe. I just feel like with his all-in mentality this year, he could have gone higher, but none of the people except for Najee at higher picks probably would have helped him more than I think ETN will help him this year. So I thought it was saucy selection from the Jawlers. I hate their brand, but their draft was pretty darn good.
Wow. Big reversal from where I thought you were going to go. Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't like that draft nearly as much. I've drank the Kool-Aid on Travis Etienne in the sense of I don't know what he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be the running back DeAndre Swift that you were saying. I think when I watched DeAndre Swift and I watched his highlights, I saw a guy who was an extremely talented receiver and also an extremely talented running back who happened to be drafted into a bad situation, running against SEC defenses and dominating. When I see Etienne, I see a guy who played against some moderately weak competition in the ACC in a spread offense, not facing stack boxes, and who's really dang fast, but I don't know what else he does. Like, he goes down pretty quickly on tackles. He's not the most elusive guy. His hands are fine. Like, he wasn't a receiving threat at all until last year, and he's worked on it and he's gotten better. And yes, but I don't see special when I see Travis Etienne. And what scares me is if they draft, like what I hear from Urban Meyer, and if this is coach speak, this is coach speak. They were heartbroken when they couldn't get Kadarius Toney, so they drafted Travis Etienne to be Kadarius Toney, which is not his role and why I faded him hard, because I don't see him as a gadget guy. I don't see him as a do everything. He could be a good running back. I don't love him in Jacksonville. Trey Sermon, yeah, it's a crapshoot. I don't like the pick because I got burned by Keyshawn Vaughn last year. Yes, I did as a homer pick, but also I did have some belief. And Trey Sermon to me is Keyshawn Vaughn, less athletic, and in probably a more volatile situation. I say all that, Trey Sermon could run for 1,000 yards this year. But if Raheem Mostert, for some miracle, can stay healthy, he's a starter in San Fran. And also, it could be anyone who works it out. Yeah, to me, it's a solid draft. I say all that to say that I think it's a B. I know you guys were really, really high on it, but I like the draft. It wasn't anything though that like really moves the needle for me for the Jawlers. And Matt, on to your point, if he's going all in, I don't think you go all in with Travis Etienne and Trey Sermon.
Okay. Nice. I'll do Jack is pretty quick here. Justin Fields, Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Calvin Ridley. I didn't factor this in at all because I don't think it affects Jack's team really all that much. He's still like he just has to think a little more about who he's gonna flex. But I mean, it's whatever. Justin Fields, I really like him. He was probably my favorite quarterback out of the class in terms of value-wise. Like, it's like last year, Joe Burrow was obviously the guy, but I was a fiend for Justin Herbert the whole offseason, and I made sure to get him. Justin Fields was this person. I tried to get to this pick. I texted Jack to trade to this one because I knew he was going to try and get. I wanted him really badly. I think good selections, and he got the handcuff for CMC in a worst case scenario. I think it's really good. I think B plus.
Yeah,
really good, not great.
So I'll go next. So obviously, I mean, I look at this and I see Jack's team, and I'm like, this guy's starting lineup looks photoshopped. It really does. I mean, he's got Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook. I mean, whose balls did he have to fondle to work this? And now he's got Lamar Jackson with Justin Fields backing him up. I mean, both of those guys are going to start on every team they're in all of Sleeper. And so now he's going to have to bench one of them. I mean, what a good problem to have. And then he obviously, like Matt Don said, he got the handcuff with Chuba Hubbard and CMC. And I mean, this guy, I really see no holes in his team. And I'm looking hard, and I can't find one, I'll be honest with you. I mean, he's got the youth, he's got the talent, he's got the consistent talent and the explosive talent all boiled into one. And I think, I mean, he did the right thing by not overextending himself in a draft, trading for picks and whatnot. I think he had the right idea of saying, oh, let me get another superstar quarterback to back up my superstar quarterback, and let me go ahead and get CMC's backup while I'm at it. And I think that's all you could have asked for. So I'm going to give him an A, a big A.
Big old A. Oh, baby. Yeah, to Griffin's point, I'll keep it short and sweet. I think Jack, more so the larger picture with Jack and the bigger question is Calvin Ridley trade. How does he replace Calvin Ridley? What do those picks look like? That's my bigger question with this offseason because there's no problems with this draft. He worked the board, let it fall to him as it did. Got a great player in Justin Fields. His biggest hole, I guess, if you can even call it a hole, is a long-term backup quarterback behind Lamar Jackson, filled with arguably the best option there. And then Chuba Hubbard needed that backup for CMC. He's got it. That's an A for me.
Boom shakalaka. This one's pretty quick too. Andrew, I'll just go through mine again. It's not much to talk about here. Najee Harris, Rondell Moore, Dwayne Eskridge. He just went, I'm going to select at all of my spots. And in the third, sure, he traded back and got more thirds in the future. I mean, what is that really? Doesn't matter. Najee Harris, I don't think fits his timeline. He's super old on a team that I don't really like all that much. I don't think his timeline is great. I don't know if he's in the win now mentality. I think he could have gotten a haul for that. If I don't know if people were trying to get it. B, it was fine. It was good.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Outside of Najee, who I think is consensus 1-1, I like that pick. I'll be honest, I'm completely out on Rondell Moore.
Oh no!
That's it.
You got kicked.
Wow.
All right, go for it, Griffin.
I guess Zoom's a big fan of Rondell Moore. Well then, so me personally, I think he saw what he needed and what he wanted, and he went and he got it. I think he had a good draft considering what he was looking for. I think he had a fantastic draft, and I personally think Dwayne Eskridge could be a hell of a pick because you look at the Seattle wide receiving core. You got DK and Tyler Lockett, who are both superstars in the league today, and defenses are going to try their best to shut down DK. And my guess is they're going to end up overextending themselves. And sure enough, Dwayne Eskridge is just going to come right in there, and defenses are not going to know how to prepare for a short little slot receiver. They are going to spend their time preparing for Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And they're not gonna be able to prepare for Dwayne Eskridge, and they're not going to even think to do so. And I think obviously Najee Harris, I mean, he's gonna come in, he's gonna start right away. I mean, look at Derrick Henry. It's basically Derrick Henry 2.0. I think that's an obvious pick. I think Chez has good youth and talent at running back with DeAndre Swift and Najee Harris. I think he had a good draft, so I'm gonna give him a B+.
Hunter, finish what you were saying.
Yeah, can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't even see myself. I don't know how this works.
Look at it there.
Oh, there it is. Beautiful. So yeah, my laptop died, so that's fun. I thought I was charging the whole time, but I clearly wasn't. Anyway, yeah, I just don't like Rondell Moore. That's it. I think he's buried in Arizona. He's fine player, but not anything special. What's his face? Kingsbury has already shown that he'll draft a small slot guy high and then not use him. In Andy Isabella, one of my personal favorites. Yeah, and so outside of Najee, who I think great pick, rest of the draft did nothing for me, so B-.
All right. You want to hit us on your last one?
Oh, baby. Who is it again?
Chris. It's Waddle, then Bateman, then Roundtree and Hunter Long.
Yeah, let me go on that. I kind of let off with this. Not a fan of Waddle. He reminds me a lot of Henry Ruggs. I could be wrong. I take Devontae Smith there. I think he's a lot safer. I think he's just a better talent.
So that's where I knock it there. Just you had the chance that a guy who I think it's so likely he's going to at least be good. With Jalen Waddle, there's a chance that he's not anything. And then with Rashad Bateman, I love the Rashad Bateman pick. I think it was a very, very strong pick. Rest of the draft, those are late round guys. Could hit or miss, could be anything. So I'm just going to give that one a B. I think it's solid. I don't think anything special. I don't think anything terrible, but yeah.
You wanna go, Griffin, and I'll end us off.
Yeah, you can close this out. So the Waddle trade or the Waddle draft pick, I thought was good. I mean, you look at the Heisman winner of this year, Devontae Smith. He would have never even been considered if Waddle didn't get hurt. And you look at Waddle's first few games when he was healthy, the guy was tearing it up. I mean, he was merciless. It was truly hard to watch because I thought someone was going to get shot. And you see Waddle, fantastic pick. And then you get Long. The Dolphins, they have their tight end, the guy from Penn State, Gesicki. He's like, 24, 25? He's a big dude, looks goofy. He's exactly what everybody looks for in a tight end. And that guy's going to be there for a while. And Hunter Long, I don't see him turning anything around. I think the Pubes definitely could have done a lot better. I don't know, a quarterback maybe.
They got Baker.
Baker.
They already got Baker.
Okay, they've got a guy who's running away from his parole officer. That's not a quarterback. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Hey, so, Griffin, in your glass house that would not throw quarterback stones.
I've got Deshaun Watson, who may or may not be a sexual offender, and Jalen Hurts, who may or may not be the future. But I'm not grading myself. I'm grading the pubic hairs here. So I think he had a decent draft, but it definitely could have been a lot better. I think he just didn't get anyone who's going to be able to contribute a whole lot, and Waddle will probably be the only one to contribute a sizable amount. And Waddle will contribute right away, so I'm going to give him a C+.
Wow.
Dude, wow. This is our most discrepancy we've ever had. This was by far my favorite draft out of everybody. Really? Yeah. I think Chris and Jack and Griffin were really the only teams that fully committed to their game plan. And Chris, I think, he stood firm at his pick with he didn't I don't know how he got Waddle. Was he just inherently number 6? Where was he?
Yeah. No, he had 4. I traded up from 6 to 4.
Okay, yeah.
And he ended up 6.
So Baker and Waddle versus Javonte for him is a smash deal.
Yeah.
I think Waddle honestly has a chance to be the best receiver from this class. I saw different things from Waddle than what you're saying. I think Henry Ruggs was always what he was and was a one-trick pony in my opinion. I think, like Griffin was saying, I think Waddle's very dynamic. He's got more gadgets, I would say, to him than just a prototypical fast guy. And what I also like about him is he has an alpha mentality. Like Griffin also said, if he's on the field, he's getting the ball. The Dolphins don't really have a guy like that, so maybe it'll be him. Bateman, similar thing. The Ravens don't really have a guy to command it from Lamar and get it from him. I think wide receivers here were king for the Pubes. Their team's god awful, so get building blocks for the future. And I thought he freaking killed it. This was my favorite one of all of them.
Wow. I mean, I was a fan of the Waddle pick, but that's hot.
Yeah, that's hot. It wasn't any great, like, outstanding names, but I think they could end up being They could end up being the ones that got away for a lot of people. That like, oh, I can't believe I let this guy pass, or oh, I can't. But you could also say the same for Devontae. So
Yeah. No, and I think that comes down to personal preference. I do agree with you though. The reason why I kind of stand by like the just a B and a solid grade is like this was a draft they needed. Like I agree with you. I think getting a young quarterback that's going to be there for a while, getting two big building blocks at wide receiver. This was a very solid and like in my opinion, just an unsexy draft for the Pubes that they desperately needed. And I think they're absolutely making the right steps in the right directions. Yeah. So any final closing thoughts? Any big other things?
We are missing one guy. And since he didn't,
we're not
talking about Peyton. Nope.
No.
I will.
No.
So since we don't have a draft,
kick him out of the call.
We'll grade him on character.
Oh, okay.
That's a shithead. He
put
himself in front of the league. I think that shows all you need to see. The guy once again stood in this stubborn ivory tower and told someone else to blink first, and we all just realized this is not a fight worth fighting. And I mean, look at what we've done here tonight. I think everyone can agree that this has been quite a time, and I'm not sorry he missed it. I hope he learns one way or another. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, so that's good. Peyton, get wrecked, nerd. Closing out, just looking back, ranking them, Jack averaged out as the best. Peacocks up there. Then we had Jawlers, Pillas up there pretty high. Some average guys, and then worst average was Griffin and the Bods, but really should just be the Bods. Griffin knocked himself. Well, I knocked him because he said he
only as high as a D. Yeah.
Well, see, I was going not solely off the draft. My only draft grade would be a B.
Don't worry about it. Bods are the worst draft. Jack's the best. It is. I need sleep. I gotta wake up for work tomorrow, so I should have been in bed 53 minutes ago. But for some reason, I said let's do it, so we did it. Jack, I think you're on the road, bro. If you're still listening, thanks for listening to the whole thing. You might be the only one, and if so, send me something in the chat, big boy.
Well, you can't send in the chat.
He's been sending stuff in the chat, the DGFL chat.
That chat. Oh, not the YouTube live chat. Yeah. No, but as always, appreciate you boys getting to talk through some draft grades. I know Matt, Don, and the boys in the back have some other spicy content planned, and it's gonna be fun.
I'm sorry, Hunter Griffin. I'm sorry to say, but this might be your last appearance for quite some time. We might be going back to the standard co-host of the guy I really can't get along with in terms of.
It's understandable. I'm not a host of Spicy Boy Thursday. I'm always an avid watcher though, and I do love the episodes. Shout out to Ryan Chafin, one of the best co-hosts in all the game.
Shout out to Ryan. Actually, yeah, for co-hosting, shout out. For everything else, shout out.
Bars. All right, boys. Matt, Don, you get some rest. And ladies and gentlemen, we're only a few short weeks away from preseason. Get ready.
Pleasure as always.
See ya.